Hi there. Welcome to Crazy Good Aging. I'm Dorothy.
And I'm Valerie.
We are your hosts and co-founders of Prime Women Media. You can read about us at primewomen.com, where we have our online magazine for women over 50. And while you're there, might as well just subscribe. It's free.
Yes.
Today's episode is about taking a mental health vacation. You know, when you get at that point, you
Yes.
know, where your to-do list is endless,
Yes.
and you're running 46 tabs in your brain, it's time for a mental health day.
Well, exactly. You know, we're not talking about locking yourself in your bathroom with a glass of wine and a candle. We're talking full-blown breezes, oceans, gorgeous sunsets. That's what we need.
And where are we going?
We're going to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Yes, and we got two ways for you to get there, by land or by sea. And we've got different things to do depending on whether you've got a whole week or you've only got one day off your cruise ship.
So if you fly in, you're going to be checking into a lovely boutique hotel or a resort. And you're going to come in, you're going to get rid of those bags, you're going to put on your bathing suit, and you're going to lay under a palapa, and someone's going to bring you margaritas and whatever else that you want. So you're really going to get to unplug.
Or you can just come in on your cruise ship and they take the little dinghy over to the beach and go eat your weight in guac and have some margaritas and do a little sightseeing and then go back to your floating hotel.
That's right. Well, each has its own vibe, but either way, you're going to get sun and sanity.
Stepping away from daily stress allows you to reset your mind. Fresh scenery can help you get your mind off everything and really, really relax. And that's what we need when we take a vacation.
Right. And you know, there's some science behind this. They say that that vacations lower your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. And all of us have stress. And we need to relieve that stress, and we can get back our mental clarity and feel much better when we have to go back to our real lives when we take a vacation, especially in away from home, not in home, but away from home, and certainly on a lovely beach surrounded by beautiful nature and ocean and mountains.
You know, that cortisol is nasty stuff. And, you know, midlife brings it on women. I mean, it's like you know, cortisol is a real problem, and that's why you put that weight on.
I know.
Around
and pretty
the middle.
soon we're going to be, you know, men die faster than women do, and pretty soon we're going to catch up to them if we don't watch that stress that we're all living under.
Exactly. We're going to be having heart attacks just like them.
That's
it's still, you know, of course, we can get into all that much later. This is not a good time to be talking about heart attacks, but it is what will kill all of us quicker than anything else.
That's true.
So,
True.
you know, constant work and responsibilities causes burnout. I mean, if you don't get in front of it,
Yeah.
it can take you under. I mean, I know I've let that happen. Where
I have
I've
too.
not taken a vacation
Right.
than I really should have.
Yeah.
And you think that, you know, they can't do without you. Well, they can. And,
Yes, they
and
can.
you need to get away
Yeah.
and refresh your mind.
Yeah, and plan your getaway. I know when I go to Puerto Vallarta or anywhere else, I love looking online to see what are the good restaurants they recommend and the hotels and what activities are there to do, so I can sort of plan it and not get there and not know what to do, which also raises my stress level. So I kind of want an idea of what's out there in that particular place, and sort of plan what I'd like to do. The few things that I would really like to do, and then the rest of the time I want to be on that beach laying under that palapa with a margarita.
Yeah, and you know what? It's very stressful if you don't know what things are going to cost.
Well, that's I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a biggie. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, if you haven't planned out exactly where you're staying and what it's going to cost, and have an idea what meals are going to run you and all that, it can be very stressful.
Yeah, and I remember going on vacations where I felt like I had to plan something every second. And I've done that before, and I've done it in Puerto Vallarta. Okay, I got to go ziplining, and I got to go get on the Malecon, and I got to go to these restaurants, I go to these clubs, and pretty soon I'm just stressed out about my vacation. So now I try to really plan a lot of downtime, a lot of relaxation, and I've been there so many times that I kind of know what I'd like to go back and do and what I've already done. And I tell you, there's all kinds of festivals and festivities going on usually in whatever place you want to go to, which is nice to know about if you want to do those things.
Yes, I think you did a very good job in planning our trip, and you're going to see some of our pictures coming up because we were just down there. And because Valerie knows Puerto Vallarta so well, she really didn't even have to plan it out because she knew exactly where we needed to do and where to stay and all that. But she managed to schedule in quite a bit of time for she and I to be down on the beach and having a margarita. So
Yes.
It made it a lot more relaxing.
It did.
And talk about making it relaxing. The one thing you've got to do is you've got to put that out of office on your email when you go out the door. Now, we didn't, but we were actually down there doing a little work for the podcast. And we're not real good about doing that. But if you want to really enjoy your time, you've got to step away. I mean, someone else can cover it. And, as far as texts go, you can set it up to where only the people you really have to talk to, like your family or maybe your assistant or, maybe your biggest client,
Right.
where the text, they're the only text you're going to see.
Yes.
And then you can go back and check everything, maybe if you want to at some point in time during the day.
Yeah, I do usually take my phone and check emails very briefly. But usually, there's somebody back at the office that can take care of everything. So don't worry. I don't worry about it very much.
Right.
So.
And if you do still, you just let your boss or whoever know you're going on vacation and you got to get away. And we all
that's
have
me at my office. I'm the boss. So when they tell me they're going on vacation, I really think it's a great deal. We try to force. Well, you can't force anybody to take a vacation, but we try to encourage them
Yes.
and not do the opposite, where some companies, they make you feel like, it's not a good thing to leave at a certain time. But what we feel like, go, take your vacation.
Exactly.
The only thing we try to do is try to space them out so not everybody wants to go on vacation
Right.
at Christmas time or
the same
Thanksgiving time or
Yeah.
something. But other than that, we feel like take your vacation, and I think our HR manager makes them look at how many days and hours they have left, so they do take that.
Do take it, yeah. And I used to, because, we both are entrepreneurs, been business owners all our lives, and I used to really discourage anyone from taking 2 weeks because I didn't want them off 2 weeks. But you know what? I figured out that that's wrong because a lot of times 2 weeks, they really were able to refresh their minds and came back, much more excited and ready to go to work. So, if you can take 2 weeks, take 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Plus, if you really want to do a lifetime vacation and go somewhere a long way away,
Yeah.
you got to have 2 weeks.
Yes, you do.
So
Absolutely.
otherwise, it's not really a vacation. It's just a quick hop, jump somewhere. You're going to spend all your time traveling on an airplane or something.
Right, exactly. Yes. So, why Puerto Vallarta? Well, first off, it's one of Valerie's very favorite
Yes.
places, right? But we also thought Puerto Vallarta was a good choice because there's so many flights from all over the U.S. They're well priced, so you can fly there pretty easily. And of course, then the cruises that we're talking about, almost all your cruises that are
Right.
going
Go
through the
through
Caribbean around in there.
Yeah.
They do a stop in Puerto Vallarta, and there are some real bargains there.
Yeah.
You can almost go on a cruise cheaper than you can go stay. So there's lots of options there. And speaking of places to stay, you can get everything from a little boutique to a resort, even the all-inclusive kind. And then also there's some beautiful, charming Airbnbs to pick from.
Right.
And then the other thing is the food. It's not only delicious and fresh, lots of seafood there, but it's very reasonable. I thought it was much less expensive, for example, than, say, Cabo even.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
that makes it a real deal.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And especially now that they have such great restaurants. You know, when I started going there 40 years ago, I mean, it was Mexican food and basic Mexican food, and that was it. And now there's all sorts of cuisine, every kind of cuisine that you could want, and 5-star restaurants. I mean, it's really changed the culture somewhat.
Yes.
But what I like, I mean, I've been to Cabo, I've been to Cancun, I've been to Acapulco, I've been to Puerto Vallarta, and Puerto Vallarta is my favorite, mainly because of the beauty there. I love the ocean and the mountains. I just love that. Getting up in the morning and we go for a walk, we see these beautiful mountains and the sun coming up over the mountains, and then, of course, the wonderful sunsets. And, you know, Cabo's the shiny new place, and Cancun has great sand and beautiful water, but no mountains. It's pretty flat. And, you know, I'm of the age, and I know you are too, where I'm not going to sunbathe.
Yeah, no.
Sunbathing, in fact, I rarely even go into the ocean anymore, just mainly because I don't enjoy it like I used to, and so I much prefer the beauty of, again, laying under that palapa, having a margarita, and looking at the beautiful mountains and the sea. So that's, you know, why I love Puerto Vallarta, and of course there's so much to do there. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but there's just a lot to do, and everything. There's something for everybody, and there's the north part. There's where north of the airport is beautiful, and then south of the airport also beautiful, and in the middle of town also nice. And there's so many rooftop areas where you can watch the sunset. It's just lovely.
Well, you know, the thing I really liked is how walkable it was and how safe I felt. I mean, you know, we walked all over. I mean, yes, Valerie and her husband will walk you into the ground, just saying. You better have some good sneakers going with them. But we walked all over, and, I mean, I felt safe. And I would, if I'd have been there by myself, I would have been very comfortable walking.
It's probably the safest city in Mexico.
Yes. So
and we walked after you left. Jay and I walked up to a place called Casa Kimberly, which is a lovely hotel and restaurant, and that's where Richard Burton and Liz Taylor filmed The Night of the Iguana up in that area, and where they stayed.
Lovely.
And so it's a beautiful area, and you have to walk way up. I mean, there are a lot of steps there. Now, you can take cabs. There's lots of cabs, and they'll get you way up there to some of those restaurants. But you can also walk and get your exercise with all of those steps there.
Yeah, well, I had plenty. Trust me, I had plenty of exercise with those two. Okay, so now we are going to take you on our tour while we were in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay, let's say you have a full week in Puerto Vallarta. Here's how to fill your days and recharge your soul. Right now, we're walking on the Malecon, which is sort of like the boardwalk of Puerto Vallarta, and it's where all the action happens. Along the boardwalk, you've got beautiful sculptures. You've got a whole row of restaurants, shops, bars, all kinds of entertainment, galleries. There's some fabulous artwork. And look at these guys. I mean, these guys climb all the way up that pole. They attach those ropes to their feet, their ankles, and down they come, all the way down. Upside down. I don't know how they do it, but somehow they do it several times a day. And it's really fun to watch this happen.
That was amazing, actually.
Yes,
Just
it was.
Absolutely amazing.
So here's another view of the Malecon. You can see all of the shops along the way. And here we have Yoga on the Beach, which is at our hotel every single morning. So it sort of gets your morning going and feeling good about being there. And it's so lovely there. We love being on the beach under the palapa and enjoying the day and having a margarita or two and some nachos. It's really, really relaxing. As you can see, there's nothing like the beach and the water. Look at the water.
And those early morning walks on the beach were one of my favorites. Lovely sunrises, but then also beautiful sunsets as well.
So here we are on our whale watching tour. The boat was big and beautiful and had plenty of drinks and food for everyone. And we got to see whales up close and personal.
It was really great how many whales we saw. Of course,
Yes.
You have to know it's the right time. I think the whale watching season is November through March, so we
Right.
managed to time it just right, and
We
we
sure
saw a
did.
whole lot of whales.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at the food. Remember, Dorothy, the food was so great.
Yes, it was great. They had sandwiches. They had this lovely ceviche. It was wonderful. Of course, you've managed to find the drinks as well.
I did, and Pablo was making these fabulous drinks, margaritas, whatever you wanted. You can see he's got lots of liquor there, and he loves making those drinks for us. So back in Puerto Vallarta proper, we went by Café des Artistes, which is one of the most well-known and best restaurants in Puerto Vallarta. And it's a beautiful restaurant inside and outside, and the food is tremendous. In fact, in Puerto Vallarta, there's so many great restaurants now. That didn't used to be the case way many years ago, but now it is fabulous. It is a culinary destination. These gorgeous mosaic benches, and there's just a ton of them here, are created by a female Mexican artist. She started this project 6 years ago, where a family or a person would buy a bench and tell her how they wanted it decorated. So you'll see people's names on these, you'll see animals on these, you'll see all kinds of things on these benches, because this is what each of the people who bought the benches wanted it to look. And she's been working on this for 6 years, and it is incredible.
You know, there's actual science behind this whole sitting out there on a chair on the beach, you know. I mean, it really does. The sunlight has an amazing impact on your brain. So it's science.
Hey, and I believe tacos are good for the soul, but don't quote me on that.
Tacos are absolutely good for you.
Well, I just, I want to encourage everyone to find their spot, their happy place for their vacations. Mine, obviously, if I'm going for a quick vacation, it's going to be Puerto Vallarta because it does feed my soul.
Well, and remember, taking care of your brain is every bit as important as your fitness routine or your anti-aging serum.
So go ahead, book that trip. It'll be great for you, and you will not regret it.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that's a wrap for this episode. Join us next week for a new one. In the meantime, be sure and write a comment and subscribe to our podcast. Also, you can go visit us at all our social media for Crazy Good Aging or Prime Women. You can also give us some suggestions or any comments you'd like to make there as well. And don't forget to go visit primewomen.com and subscribe. Anyway, that's about it for us. So we'll be sure and join us again for
Crazy Good Aging.